Hello, this is wmpyr. In this video, this is going to be a discussion about an infamous knife. I was having a discussion with Quan Lee. Please check out his YouTube channel on Quan Lee Films. All right, this guy is into tactical knives, so he has some interesting videos, and he definitely did a review on the knife that we're going to be talking about today, which is this guy right here, this bad boy right here. This is the Jim Wagner RBB, Reality-Based Blade. On my YouTube channel, one of my videos that talks about self-defense knives and stuff, this knife gets probably the most comments. In that video, I show a bunch of different knives, and this one takes the cake. Everyone always asking me about this one. So before we get into this knife, I think I need to talk about the designer, Jim Wagner. Okay, who is Jim Wagner? This guy, I remember reading his editorials. He had an editorial column on Black Belt magazine, and he was basically promoting reality-based martial arts, and sounded like he wanted to distinguish himself and reality-based martial arts, RBMA, from traditional martial arts and combat sports such as MMA. This guy, his background is extremely impressive. All right, that he is like an instructor for special forces, government agencies, police, special SWAT teams, and things of that nature. Okay, and that he's been around the world teaching, all these elite units this kind of tactical RBMA. And I believe his own background includes he was in the military, and he was also an actual police officer, if I'm not mistaken. Now, at the same time, I have heard that a lot of his claims are fraudulent. Okay, I don't know him personally. I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, all I'm just saying is I just want to get this out there that he is a controversial figure. Okay, so I guess my main point in bringing this up is I'm not trying to mudsling the guy or anything like that. I obviously have his product. Okay, but if he is fraudulent, I don't want to support someone that is a liar, of course. So I want to bring that up, but I don't know. Okay, and the other thing is, if you are going to buy a knife or any product, and they say like this person is world renowned, this and that, okay, you should take that as a grain of salt. Okay, be careful. Okay, I personally like knives designed by martial artists, so to me that's a really cool feature. But at the same time, I take that as a grain of salt. All right. So that's all I'm saying. Okay, I just buyer beware type stuff. Okay, so I just don't want you guys to feel gypped or anything like that. All right, so the man himself, the designer, like I said, is controversial. The maker, Boker, this one says a Boker Plus is the subdivision of Boker, and Boker, I personally like the company's knives very much. They have a lot of different knives in the market, and I like a lot of their tactical knives a lot. Even some of their non-tactical knives. That's just my own personal opinion there. Okay, so this knife also right here seems to be just as controversial as the designer. Okay, this knife right here, it seems to me like on YouTube I have seen people do reviews on this knife, and just by the way they're doing the reviews, some of these people I can tell like they are maybe not that experienced with knife reviews, maybe not that experienced with tactical knives. And a lot of times these people, they really like this knife. They really enjoy it. And then, like on forums and stuff, I've read how people that are like the more experienced knife collectors and knife users, and they seem to absolutely hate this knife with a passion. So it seems like a love it or hate it type category. For me personally, I am absolutely fascinated with this knife. I've had this knife for a very long time. I could have gotten rid of it at any point, easily trade it, give it away, sell it on eBay. I could have, but I've decided to keep it because I like it. What can I say? I really like the knife. I think it's fascinating. Um, and I'm saying that not because I can't admit a mistake or something like that, all right? I do see the failures and the things that this knife tried to do and wasn't able to accomplish well, all right? I do see that, but I actually enjoy that as well. To me, it's like an independent film or a low budget film where they're trying things that normal Hollywood necessarily wouldn't. And I admire that. I like that. You know, I like that they try things and take risks, all right, whether they pull it off or not. So, because of that, I like it, okay? And there's a lot to talk about because there's a lot of people have said this is a gimmicky knife. And because of it, it has been accused as a mall ninja knife, which is like one of the worst things you could say about a tactical knife is to call it a mall ninja, you know? I think that's a huge insult, actually. But whether mall ninja or gimmicky or whatever, to me, it doesn't change the fact that it's still quite unique. It's hard to find a knife that has this many features on it, all right? If you don't care about any of that, you don't care about the backstory, you don't care about the designer, you don't care about the controversy, you don't care about the gimmicks, you just want a solid knife that just operates well, then maybe this knife is not it for you, okay? But if you like all the things that I'm saying and you think you can appreciate all that, then, you know, you're like me and I really like this knife, all right? Okay, so first of all, I have this one right here, the RBB. There's different versions of it, okay? They made one where it's basically like a switchblade. It just pops open, all right? I don't have that one, and I understand why they did that because the deployment of the blade, I think, is kind of not good on this knife. This does not deploy well, all right? Or there's some problems with the deployment, should I say, okay? Some potential problems for sure, okay? And because of that, I guess they made the switchblade version, which makes sense. I personally do not like switchblade knives. I own a few assisted openers and stuff like that. I own a few like that. I personally like manual opening knives, and I personally like the ambidextrous hole. That's just me personally, which this does not have. It looks like there is an ambidextrous hole. That's not for opening, all right? So anyway, I have this guy, which is, I believe, the original RBB, and this one right here, which is the Urban Survival Tool, which I believe is also designed by Jim Wagner. Now, there's so much to talk about. I'm going to concentrate on this knife only, but I need to bring this up, and I apologize, this video is going to be long, but hopefully you find this subject interesting and fascinating as much as I do, and you'll enjoy this video. So anyway, so these two, designed by the same people, if I'm not mistaken, made by the same people or the same company. And let me see. Let me show you something that may or may not be of interest to you. Is you look at the blade shape of both of them and compare the blade shape. Let me get out of the way here. All right, you see that? Basically the same blade shape. Okay, it's just one is much smaller. Okay, and if you also look right here, this is a false pen top. Okay, you cannot click this. It's designed to look like a pen, but this is, as you saw, it's a very tiny folding knife. Okay, and then this one right here, this has the I have the glass breaker on here. Okay, and the tops are interchangeable. Okay, I have changed them up before. I think I have a spare one of these somewhere. Okay, so they're interchangeable. The clip is not. I'm pretty sure I did that in the past, and it is not interchangeable. Just the top right here. Okay, so you could interchange those, which I think is really cool. Okay, and the handle is this fiberglass reinforced nylon, if I'm not mistaken. and you can feel it has a similar feel, all right? But obviously this is much, much smaller. So anyway, I kind of feel like they go together. And all right, the idea here is you could use this thing in the closed position, all right, like a yawara stick, and strike with this, okay? I would think that because this is the glass breaker, that this one would break glass better than this. I don't know, okay? I haven't tried it, so I really don't know. For impact purposes, this is solid. This works very, very well. And Quan Lee, in his opinion, is that this one actually strikes better than this one for impact purposes. You know, so like if you're going to hit the hand and stuff, he feels that this one can hurt more, which, you know, I can understand that statement, you know. Yeah, I really don't know unless you really get hit hard by it. You know, I think they're both effective. Like I said, this one I would think may hit glass better, and I have no problem agreeing with Mr. Quan Lee saying that for impact purposes, this actually might be better. You know, but on top of that, there is the gimmick that this becomes if you attach this on here, it's once again becomes that false pen. So you could put it like right here, and because it sits deep, the pocket clip, the way it's designed, it's going to sit deep, and all you see is that pen, the false pen top. So it looks like you're carrying a pen. How well is that going to work here in the shirt pocket right here? I don't know, because I think because it's pretty massive and the weight that it's going to print, and it's going to probably dangle a little bit forward, that you're going to be able to see it. So I don't think it's going to work too well there. In the pants, I think it'll work much better. And some people may say, well, that's a stupid gimmick. Never going to use something like that. It's dumb. Well, you know, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, you know, I'm never going to use that, because you never know. If I am in a situation where I can use it, I will. Why wouldn't I? Why would I just slam the door shut and say, I'll never use that? You know, why limit yourself? So I think it's a nice touch. I think it's nice that you have the option to do that. It's a cool, neat little idea, all right? I don't think that should be the reason why you buy this knife, but like I think a better reason is the pocket clip. The way it's designed, the way it hooks up here is solid. I think that's a much better reason to buy it than the cool false pen feature, you know? I like the way the pocket clip is designed. You could switch it to the other side, so, you know, you could put it either way. You cannot have it this way. So this is for tip-up carry only, which, from my understanding, a lot of people prefer the tip-up carry, and from my understanding, a lot of people prefer a deep-sitting knife because of concealment. So those are two things that, you know, should appeal to a lot of people. Personally, my personal preference is I don't like deep-sitting knives. Just my personal preference there. But I do like the way the pocket clip is solid, all right? It attaches solid like that. The most common ones are, I think, the ones that you see where it has like 3 tiny screws to hold it down. After wear and tear, my personal experience, and I've seen other people, happen to other people, and various brands too, I've seen the screw pop out. At least one screw just flies out, all right? Eventually, over wear and tear. And that I really don't like that, all right? It's nice that it has 3, so if one pops out, there's still 2 other ones holding it down, but I kind of feel like it looks ugly now, you know? I guess you could always get replacement screws, but a lot of times also, if the handle is not like metal, it feels to me like the screwing in process, like if it's G10 or something like that, that over time it doesn't hold as well, especially if you're changing the pocket clip around and stuff like that. So, you know, I would prefer this kind of pocket clip over those any day, in my personal opinion. I like this very much. Also check out the lanyard hole. I feel that's a generous size, and I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so now let's go into using this as a yawara stick. Okay, so once again, I think the length of it is nice enough that, you know, you still have some very adequate amount sticking out here for striking purposes. So to me, that's good. It works very well that way. this right here is also supposed to be to where you could strike, okay? And notice how I'm choking down on it. You have to, you know, do something like this and choke down on it, because if you hold it right here, and Quan Lee pointed this out, is that how are you supposed to strike with that? Because my finger sticks out further, all right? So that's definitely a minus there. And plus, it's so smooth, you know, the amount of that, I mean, it still hurts. I definitely don't want to get hit like this. So if I'm holding it like this and you hit someone like that, I mean, this sucks, all right? I can feel it, definitely. On bone, cheekbone, skull, you're going to feel it. But if they made it sharp or sharper, it would have been a lot more effective, in my opinion. You know, and some people may say, well, that's going to shred up your pocket. Well, then they should have made this bigger, all right? If you want to keep it dull like this, all right, but you still want it to be effective for striking, and you don't want it to shred up your pocket, so you don't want it sharp, then it needs to stick out more, all right? Now, as far as waving, this has been advertised for waving open, and I just saw a video where one of Jim Wagner's guys did it. I believe I've waved this thing like maybe this whole time I've had it, and I've had it for a long time, maybe twice, all right? Let me just say, even though I've actually waved twice with this thing, I would say this is not meant for waving. It does not wave. Let me just say that. This doesn't wave, all right? Maybe you can do it. If you can, you're an anomaly, all right? This is not the best waver at all. In fact, I'm saying this doesn't wave, period, okay? If you want a knife that waves, then don't get this, okay? It's plain and simple. What they could have done in order to make it wave is the angle is all wrong. It shouldn't be slanted like that. It needs to be slanted this way, in the opposite direction, all right? They could have put in some really aggressive jimping so it'll hook. You know, just something. It's just not done right for waving purposes, all right? It does have a lanyard hole, and from my understanding, what that is that in the open position, because if it's closed, I don't know how it's really going to work, but you're supposed to put like a cord through here and here. They don't come out and say this, but this is my understanding. Yeah, I'm sure you could tie it onto a stick to make an improvised spear. I think they did say that you could tie it onto a stick and make an improvised spear. Okay, so that's one. But the other thing is they said like for like hostile environments or something like that. And from my understanding is, like I said, to put a cord through here, and then you just slide your hand through like this. So if you are in a place where it's like, you know, like on the ocean where the waves are like really strong, or you're high up, you know, like on a mountain and the wind is blowing really hard or something like that, then that's really going to help you out for sure, without a doubt. So that's a very, very cool feature. But in that case, it seems like this needs to be like in this position already, all right? If you close it and open it, I don't know if the cord is going to get stuck here, or I don't know how that's going to work, all right? I haven't tried it. Maybe it works well, but I'm just saying I personally haven't tried it. So that's a cool idea. That's a cool feature, in my opinion. One thing that the worst thing about this knife, okay, like all the other negatives, I don't have a problem with. But there's one thing that bothers me the most, and that's this right here. Can you see that? Yeah, it goes down right there. So when I squeeze it, the blade goes down. What's happening there? Am I pushing the blade edge into the back, the inside of this, into the back part right here, into the spine? And is it dulling the blade? Am I squishing the blade and making it dull? I definitely don't want that. If I am going to use this as a Yawara stick, like they're advertising that you use this as a Yawara stick, all right, then I don't mind that this deploys slow. Okay, I don't mind that, all right, because I could use this as a Yawara stick. But if I am going to use this as a Yawara stick, I want it to be solid. I don't want this to give, like, be squishy, all right? That's not cool at all right? So that's the main problem that I have. If I could redesign that knife, that's the first thing that I would change, is that put some kind of stopper in here, all right? Maybe on the blade, maybe a certain part can stick out so it stops that. I don't want that to happen, all right? So that bothers me a lot, okay? So that's my biggest negative. Let's move on. Okay, so deployment deployment wise, like I said, you cannot wave with this guy. All right, you have to use the thumb disc right here. Okay, see, you can see that thumb disc. Now, if this thumb disc is gone, how are you gonna deploy this knife? I really don't know. This is so smooth right here. This is so dull that you can't use this as a like a thumb ramp. All right. So then how are you gonna open it? You have to use two hands. All right. It's not something that you could just snap open with momentum. It sits in pretty. There's a see that. Okay, there's that force right there. So it might be possible. Some people can actually probably snap this open, but I'm going to say it's very difficult. So, you know, I hate that it relies on this thumb disc. If for some reason this falls out, then, you know, you're going to have to open it like this, right? You're going to be screwed in that sense. So that's really not cool. I would have liked, all they had to do was design this differently to where it can wave and it could also be used to open with your thumb, you know. That's all they had to do. And you wouldn't even need a thumb disc right here. You just open it from here, all right? But obviously they had to put in the thumb disc or make it automatic like the other version of this. So that's the other alternative. So yeah, that's definitely a problem area there, okay? So once you use the thumb disc, all right, and you deploy it, it's okay. It's okay. It's not the fastest, but I don't feel that it's super slow either. I don't feel that when I take this out that I'm super slow. And believe me, I've had this knife in a self-defense situation multiple times, and I have actually deployed it. Luckily, nothing happened. All right. One time I remember I got a phone call from a lady, and she said, you know, there's some scary people out here. Can you come out? And I believe I had this knife with me. All right, I believe I had it with me, and I can't remember if you know I had it out or not. But you know, I wouldn't have grabbed this knife if I felt like I wasn't able to deploy it quickly. And there were three big dudes there, and I flashed this. I remember flashing. I don't know if they saw it. You know what? I don't know. I don't think they saw this. I hid this actually. It was out. They didn't see it. But I did show them my tactical flashlight. So I had a tactical flashlight in one hand, and I had this in the other hand. This I hid, but I made sure they saw the flashlight. Yeah, that's what I did. All right, but anyway, luckily nothing happened. There was another situation where basically I thought that someone had broken into the house, all right? Or it was either breaking into the house. Yeah, I thought someone had broken into the house, and I remember taking this out. Actually, there were two occasions. My bad. Two occasions where one was someone was messing with the door, all right? And then there was another where I had heard footsteps, all right? And I had this with me, okay? At the time, I had this with me. And what I like about it is, see this? You could deploy it relatively silent, okay? Lockbacks can do that. You basically go like this and hold down the lock right here, okay? And then I was just like, shh, like that. And deployed it just like that, you know. So I had it in my hand like that, no problem. All right. So you can deploy it silently. All right. So that to me is a very, very cool plus. Okay. So now let's move on to the handle. All right. Let's talk about the handle. The handle is quite large. Actually, this knife is quite large, and what makes it so large is the handle. If you look at it, it's a decent thickness. I'm sorry I don't really have anything to compare it to, but I'm telling you, it's not bad thickness wise. And you can see it goes all the way down. This is the back lock right there, and then you can see this is the you know, the scales right there, fiberglass reinforced nylon, and it feels pretty solid. All right, and you can see the grooves, the finger grooves. Now, Mr. Quan Lee has said that he does not. At least in the video, he said that he didn't really care too much for the handle design, all right? That he felt that he was limited into the hammer grip like this, okay? Not like this, all right? Not like this or anything that you have to be kind of like in this grip. From my understanding, Jim Wagner wanted this to be in this grip, because he felt that with the adrenaline in a real life situation that you're going to be holding it like this, all right, not in some of the other grips that require fine motor skills, you know, that you're just going to want gross motor skills. So just hold it real tight, don't let go, just like that. You could hold it, you could attack this way and you can attack this way, all right, and you could obviously slash, but that was his idea. What do I think about that idea? You know, I feel like there's definitely some truth in there that, you know, in a crisis situation, you never know how you're going to respond. And I think the important thing is to know yourself, to be able to know yourself, how you're going to respond. So let me tell you, I've been in self-defense situations where I've had to deploy a knife and had to deploy, you know, do things in stressful situations, all right, where I had to do kind of what normal people would consider pretty fine motor skills. I didn't have a problem. On the other hand, there were other times where something like this felt like it weighed 30 pounds because of the fear, because of the pressure, because of the stress, and just I could not open this with one hand. I was like, I can't. I cannot because of the stress. So I had to open it like this, and even then, I was just like, even just breathing is difficult. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like that, but I have, and I think the important part is just being able to know yourself to where you could distinguish that. And once you can, then you know you're not going to drop the knife in the middle of combat or something like that. So that's the important part, is to know thyself, and also depends on how comfortable you are and how skilled you are. If you're skilled, you know, like, so technically, you know, something like a balisong, like a butterfly knife, all right, you shouldn't be able to deploy that at all in a street situation. Obviously, that's not true. There are some people out there in the street that are so comfortable that they could operate a butterfly knife and they could intimidate you with it and they could pull fancy tricks and they could still be awesome. You know, it was banned for a reason, you know. So it just depends on your skill level. So don't let anyone say to you that in a real life self-defense situation, you have to limit yourself only to gross movement, okay? If that's true and that's what you do and your opponent is capable of doing finer movements, then you're already at a huge disadvantage. They're going to be doing gross movements and fine movements, and you've just restricted yourself only to gross movements. You're already at a disadvantage, okay? So it's just, you know, don't necessarily limit yourself that way. And I think the important thing is to practice, okay? And to get to know yourself, all right? So anyway, let's move on, okay? I'm sorry I got sidetracked there. Okay, so as far as this the handle goes itself, for me personally, I feel comfortable in you know, the various different grips. I like it. I feel very, very comfortable. I really like the handle. That's one of the things that I said about this before, was I like the handle, and right now I still have to say I like the handle. I really like this design. Like I said, if we could remake this a wmpyr version, I wouldn't change the handle. I'd keep it the same. I really like this. I like the hook over here. I like the stopper over here. You know, I like the way it feels, okay? I feel like it goes well with Eskrima as well. I got no problem with it at all. Now, I'm still going to agree with Mr. Kwon Lee and say that this handle was specifically designed for hammer grip, though. So keep that in mind, all right? So you might agree with him and say, I don't know, wmpyr, this, I feel like I'm forced to only use the hammer grip with this. Okay, so you might be one of those people, okay? That's your opinion, nothing wrong with that. I'm just, you know, so I do want to get the facts out. This was, from my understanding, Jim Wagner said he expects you to use this in the hammer grip, okay? But me personally, I don't mind using it in a hammer grip, but I have no problem using it in different grips either, okay? Just my personal take on it. So I do find that the handle is very nice. It's actually one of the things that I really like about this. I like that it's a lockback. I like the strong pocket clip. This is the area that I would totally change. Another thing that I would change is, now let's move into the blade, all right? The blade right here is when you're going to close it, I like a finger choil right here for safety reasons. When I'm trying to close this, you can see that this is going to guillotine my finger. This finger is going to go. All right, so I would like to have a safety area there so that I could, if for some reason I'm trying to deploy this and it comes back on me for whatever reason, I don't expect that to happen, but if it does, then I'm going to be okay. Honestly, it doesn't happen to me. All right, but it's just something that I personally like to see in a design. All right, so some knives have that, and I really appreciate those. This one does not have that. Okay, so just to let you know, I don't know, can you guys see that? Yeah, it's all blade. If the blade goes all the way down or already right there, so it will guillotine your finger in that sense. Like that being said, though, I haven't had a problem. Right here, this you see there's a line right here. Was this the two inch? I believe man, it's been so long, so I apologize. I don't remember, but I think it was like the 2 inch mark. Is it 2 inches? It seems a little short for 2 inches. All right, maybe that's only an inch. Yeah, that looks more like an inch to me. But I thought it was like to hit an organ in the body when you stab in. With a 2 inch blade, you should be able to hit it, something like that. I think that was the idea behind that. So there's a marker here for that, but this doesn't look like 2 inches for sure. This only looks like about an inch. I'm sorry, I forgot the details on that, but there is a marker there, and it had to do with, to let you know how far you're stabbing in. The blade design is one of the things that catches people's eyes right away. Instantly, when you see this knife, you go, the blade. Wow, look at that blade, all right? This right here is called a Chris curve, very fancy name, and this is the Gladius tip. How could you not like that name, right? So the marketing-wise, the name sounds really cool. You could tell that this is made for spearing, for piercing, okay, for stabbing, all right? The point is very thin, and let me tell you right off, it has a tendency to break, okay? Mine broke. This one broke. I had to re-put a point on there. It was a pain to do, but I did. I successfully did. I think it looks good. I was able to put that point back on, but the tip did break off, okay? What I did was I was practicing on cardboard, and I believe I actually hit a little bit of wood. It cut through the wood. Don't get me wrong. It actually cut through the wood, but the tip broke off. I think, I don't want to make stuff up, but I think I heard either Jim Wagner or somebody say that that was on purpose so that I thought it was Jim Wagner in one of his instructional videos on YouTube, that you stab and the tip breaks off, and then there's a chance of an infection, or it makes it very difficult for them to remove it. So you're doing extra damage or something like that. And I really feel like that is kind of like, I don't think they planned that. Why would you plan that? I think it was more like a lot of people probably complained that the tip broke off, and then he, made this reasoning, hey, if the tip breaks off into the opponent, then it does more damage. So we actually specifically designed that, which it's a little hard to believe, but I think I remember hearing something like that. Okay, I could be wrong. Don't quote me, okay? But that's another controversial and interesting story about this knife. Another reason for me to like this more. But okay, and this is obviously the straight area, okay? So, okay, the tip does break off, so please keep that in mind. If you do get this knife, be very careful with the tip, and, understand that it snaps off very easily, okay? I do like the straight edge right here, this right here, and then this is what they call the secondary point right here. The curve that you see right here is, as many people have talked about, is this curve is, it wraps around the limbs, circular area. Basically, it increases your surface area to blade edge ratio. Okay, it maximizes that. Okay, so I wanted mine to be serrated. They have a non-serrated version, but I wanted mine to be serrated so it grips big time and it'll rip out that area. Okay, that's what I personally wanted. Okay, so in the back over here, it has I believe they called it a unique blood groove, I think. Also, you can see it's 440C, made in Taiwan. yeah, that unique blood groove. Now, I come from the school that I was personally taught that this is a fuller, not a blood groove. The blood groove where it lets out blood so you could pull it out. Um, you know, I wasn't taught that. I have heard that argument. All right, that's why it's there. But I was taught that it's there for to lighten it and also to strengthen it. That's a fuller. Okay. Um, I wish someone would do an experiment and just get this, you know, do an experiment and see which one is more accurate. All right, that's all, and just settle the argument. You know, that would be nice. So I don't have proof either way. I'm just saying I was taught the fuller explanation. All right. So anyway, oh, one more thing before I forget. You see this right here. There is jimping right here on the back on the spine of the blade, and you might be going, "What is that for?" You know, you're holding it. What, I mean, are you supposed to do this? I guess you could. You could do this, which is kind of awkward to do this. My understanding, this is there, I think, for this. So for assisted cuts, for power type cutting, I think that's there for. Is that necessary? I don't think it's really necessary, but it's, once again, like a lot of features on this knife, it's nice that they put that on there. It's like a bonus feature. So this has a lot of bonus features. So I think I covered just about everything that I can think of on this knife, and man, this is already a very, very long video. So if you've hung around this long, thank you very much. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed all that talk, all that mumbo jumbo, and you know, thank you for watching, and take care, folks.